my father was significant of eyebrow.
Significant of eyebrow?
He had big eyebrows.
Marvellous.
And I've plucked mine away almost to nothing. And I think I was trying to take away the bits of me. I think the eyebrow is a parable, metaphor. I think I was trying to rid myself of the bits of him I didn't like.
Welcome to Own It, Your Business and Your Life, with Nicola and Judith Morgan. In this podcast, we're going to cover everything you need to embrace to become a successful entrepreneur, marketing, money, and much, much more. How to create a business doing just what you love. How to own it, your business and your life. This one will be fast, funny, feisty, and very lively. So sit back and enjoy the show.
Morning,
caller. How are you?
I'm very well. If you hear some panting in the background, I don't want you to think it's me. We've got a little Wilfred Owen's back.
Oh, okay, nice.
So hopefully you won't hear his panting because my microphone will get rid of it, but you never know.
I've got 3 versions of your screen, which is a bit strange.
Oh, Wilfie.
Oh, well, he wasn't just panting, he was sort of singing there. Hello, Wilf.
He knows there's cats outside. Oh, so I think Sarah's taking him downstairs now because he won't stop.
Bye, Wilf. I quite liked the colour that Wilf brought to this morning's show.
I know, but we can do without the howling, though, can't we? Oh, my word. So, how has your week been?
I've got 4 things to tell you in this first section. I'm still in Trowbridge in my second week of 2, where we enjoy an Arga. I've only tried to cook on the Arga once over the weekend, and I had to get a neighbour round to help me with it because I couldn't get the door open again. So I opened the door, put my food in, then I couldn't get the door open again. Now, there are 3 doors on an Arga, and all 3 of them work absolutely fine. The bottom 2 easily, and I know how an Arga door works, but that top one doesn't work properly. And so I emailed my holidaymaker and said, is there a knack? You can't tell your own knacks, because they become your new normal. Anyway, the man from next door seemed to be quite worried about it. It's a very heavy door. It's a very hot door. So I haven't used it again, basically. I can already tell I'm never going to want to cook on an Arga, but they do have compartments for everything. There's one that you can use as a slow cooker. Yep. And according to my hosts and a YouTube video, it makes spectacular toast, although obviously I haven't done that because I can't eat toast on the low-carb thing. And they said it might set off the smoke alarm. So when I look on Rightmove, if a house is full of, I know this will be contentious to some of our listeners, if a house is full of Argas and wood-burning stoves, I move on by because I don't want any of those. I want my ovens, I've said this before, are eye height and all electric, and I don't want any kneeling down to start a fire, thanks very much. So all the Arga has done is reinforce my prejudices against them.
Yeah.
But good news, there's a very elegant-looking Marks & Spencer's food hall just down the road, which I'm going to scope out tomorrow because a former client of mine is coming to visit me on Monday and I want to feed her lunch. And you can always rely on M&S for some nice treats.
Yes, you can. I particularly like the edamame bean and pea salad.
Oh, do you? That's interesting. One of my clients in the low-carb group can't eat edamame beans.
They also have all sorts of nice things in that.
They do. They have some very nice low-carb treats these days as well. Yeah. Mm. Now, that was number 2. Number 3, yesterday the car was serviced on one of those collect and delivery services, which is lovely. I always used to use that in London, and otherwise car servicing's a faff. You drive it to the garage, then what do you do?
Yeah, you sit
there. Anyway, exactly. Yesterday was like 9 o'clock in the morning to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I can't sit there for that while they're servicing the car. No. Anyway, I'm doing a lot more mileage these days. 200 miles to London and back isn't a rarity, and I wanted to be sure that the car was safe before I start a lot more motorway driving this winter. And as I said to the man when he phoned me up to tell me the bill was twice what I expected it was going to be, I said, as you can see, I don't drive it very much because the mileage on it since 2010 is only 20,000 in 8 years, which is nothing. And he goes, I recommend you drive it a bit more. I said, well, that's why I'm having it serviced, because I am driving it a lot more at the moment. You know that motorway driving, well, just generally driving a car is a very dangerous thing.
Yes.
It's about the statistically most dangerous thing we do, and we do it every day without thinking about it very much. I've started to think about it a lot more because the motorways are scary. And if you have a safe car, safe, well-serviced car, you're in a better position to drive safely.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, so that was that. And when I said I was going to be in Trowbridge, I think I might have mentioned this, everyone said to me, you've got to visit Bradford-on-Avon, even the owners of this house, which if you think about it, it's very funny because it's like saying, it's okay here, but the town next door is much nicer. Anyway, so last week I went on a sunny day. I think it was after you and I spoke last Thursday, and I didn't like it as much because it's one of those chocolate boxy touristy places that makes good locations for historical oldie Englandy TV series, you know, Wolf Hall and The White Princess and many more. They've all been made there. You know those ones, what are those ones called? I never watched them on Sunday night. They're called Driving the Geese to Candleford or something. What are they called?
Historical dramas.
Yes, like Lark Rise, all that nonsense. Yeah. They're all filmed quite a lot in Wiltshire because quite a lot of the buildings have survived as they were, you know, 300-400 years ago. Yeah. But it's not my bag, to be honest, chocolate box. You know that hill that they go up and down on the bicycle in the Hovis ad? That's in Dorset. They pretend it's in Yorkshire. But, you know, cobbled and chocolate box doesn't really like my candle, honestly. But what it did do, it prompted me to write at length about the things I had enjoyed whilst I've been nomading in the West Country. And those 6 months are almost up. I enjoyed writing it. I shared it on Facebook, and I've been pleased with the response sufficiently to put it in tomorrow's newsletter because it got 77 engagements and 18 comments.
Wow.
I know. But the drive inspired me to write at length on Facebook, which I thought was quite nice for a change.
Yeah, yeah.
I keep meaning to do more of that, actually.
Yeah. Anything that brings inspiration is good, isn't it?
It is, yes. I mean, it made me want to write. Couldn't wait to get home to write.
Oh, well, it's going to be a bit of a thing.
It was thinking, I don't know why I'm in Bradford-on-Avon. It's too chocolate boxy for me. That made me think, well, what have I loved? You know, it was that kind of...
Which prompts the question, what kind of a town do you like?
Grittier. Don't forget I'm a Londoner. I don't like chocolate box.
Okay.
It's twee.
Yeah, I like clean and tidy.
I don't mind clean and tidy. I don't want chocolate box. I don't want you know, tourist attraction. I mean, apart from anything else, it's full of tourists.
Yeah, of course. That's the bugger of the thing.
Yeah. I have looked at a house actually above a village called Laycock, which I forget what they use that for. Something that everybody watches that I don't in huge numbers, because I don't really do costume drama. But the house is set above the village and all the tourists are down in the village. That would be fine.
Yeah, yeah.
Still a bit chocolate boxy to drive through.
Yeah. So you like a mixture of buildings, modern and old? And
yeah, I do. Absolutely. That's what I love about London, that the Gherkin is bang next to the Tower of London.
Yeah, I love
it. And also I like a bit of grit. I don't like it safe and twee and, I like a bit of proper old London in there, you know.
You are such a contradiction. You've just talked about how dangerous it is on the motorways and now you just disparaged safe towns.
No, it's not so. I didn't disparage safe towns. I'm not against safety. I don't feel vulnerable when I go about a town. I'm very aware how vulnerable I am when I'm driving on the motorway. It's a difference.
Yeah.
You know, and they're probably, I mean, you know, the thing about safety is that's happened in a lot of cities in our world, which I disapprove of, is the gated development, where you keep the hoi polloi out and you're behind the gate. I don't like that at all.
I think the idea is just to discourage people rather than keep them out.
Well, we're coming to the pitchforks at the gate day, so it's to keep them out. Trust me. Right, you tell me about your week.
Well, it's been nice and quiet this week. We've been having a very quiet week. That's the best thing to say. It's been nice and sunny, so we've been down the beach a couple of days. We've also had a torrential downpour and a massive thunderstorm. I'm not joking. It crashed with lightning and immediately thundered overhead. So loud it hurt my ears. It was unbelievable because the mountains are behind us, you see, so they attract all these thunderclouds. But it's been a mixed bag weather-wise, but we have been down the beach a bit. Today is the Mani LitFest. And I absolutely loathe the name, but I had nothing to say about that. But Yeah, so it's a good full day of workshops. There's a workshop on this morning. In fact, there's 2 workshops on this morning, but I changed you around last week, so I didn't feel I could change you around again. And I'm going to a poetry workshop this afternoon with Neil Fawcett. And then there's a Right Club the podcast presentation session. There's a memoir group presentation session. There's a panel of that Steph's chairing of all the local writers. And it's going to be quite interesting, I think, followed up with some literary cocktails.
So what's a literary cocktail? It's called after famous writers, is it?
Yeah, well, it's called things like, do you know, I can't remember any of them. They're really clever names, and I'll be enjoying them.
Okay. And why don't you like the word LitFest?
Because it just doesn't sound nice to me. I think they should call it a literary festival.
Quite often they are called LitFests in the UK.
Yeah, I just don't like it.
It's become a word, I think.
I don't like it.
Mm.
Anyway.
You don't like abbreviations, or you don't like words like chicklet?
Yes, I don't like those words either.
No.
They sound, I don't know, they sound chippy, flinty, hard, horrid.
Ugly.
Yeah, I just don't like them.
And actually, the 2 words literary festival are lovely.
Exactly. So why? I mean,
because actually it would be a bit of a mouthful. Are you going to the Mani Literary Festival? You know, it's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it?
Well, people can abbreviate it then if they choose to, can't they?
Yeah.
But I just don't like it.
No.
And then tomorrow, I found myself unaccountably drawn to the Arts and Crafts Fair, which is held once a month in Pefko Garden. I want some more pictures for the walls, I've decided. So I'm going to go down and have a mooch about there and see if there's anything I fancy on the Greek old lady black and white front, because that's what...
Now, the Pefko Garden is not the one that you've had your creative workshops in, or is it?
No, I'm about to tell you about that.
Yes, good, okay.
It's basically usually full of tables and and customers.
Oh yes, the garden at Pefko. I see what you mean. Yes,
yes. And it's the one that the local lady who's so good with arts and crafts did up for someone's wedding and made.
Yes, okay. And what are you expecting to see or find at this arts and crafts fair? Toot. What did you say?
Well, not toot.
I thought you said toot. I thought that's what you said.
I said pictures.
Okay. That's funny. I heard toot. I honestly did.
Well, some of them might be toot, but I'm sure some of them will be lovely.
No. But that only covers arts. What about crafts?
Well, I don't know. I've got no idea what to expect there. But it's funny because I've never wanted to go there before in the last 2 years. So it's funny that I'm having these interior design things. I bought...
Yeah. You are a weirdo, actually. I was saying to my group this morning, we pick 3 gratitudes every day. And I said, today's the 199th show with Nicola and her life and our lives. It started with your life, but I knew we were going to talk about woo-woo. So I said, when I first knew her, she wouldn't have dreamed of talking about woo-woo. And then I went, well, 4 years of our lives, we've changed quite a lot. And not only that, but we've fully documented our changes on 199 hours of audio.
I know. So was I one of the things you were grateful for then?
Well, I was grateful for your preparedness to discuss the law of attraction again. Because when I first knew you, you wouldn't have touched it with a barge pole.
Well, no, that's not strictly true. But
it is. No, it is. It absolutely is.
No, it isn't.
It is. It is. Don't forget, because I've known you since 2003.
Yes, and I've read. Well, let's leave this for the middle section, and
okay.
I'll refute your claims.
All right. Okay.
So I wasn't really one of the things you were grateful for, but sort of.
No, it wasn't you. It was your preparedness to discuss the law of attraction, right. And the awareness that we've done well in these 4 years. But keep going. So, anything more about your week?
Well, no, that's it pretty much. So. Let's move on to Fueled by Fire.
Yeah, you go first.
Okay. Well, I've been on a writing retreat in a beautiful garden in Kardamyli. Kardamyli is the next village along.
Ah, that's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, and the garden was in the old town where all the really old renovated tower houses are. Absolutely stunning. Kardamyli is where Patrick Lee Fermer lived.
Yes.
And there was a bit sniffy about Stupa because Stupa's not so architecturally interesting, but Kardamyli is absolutely stunningly pretty and a bit like Chocolate Box, like you were saying.
Yeah.
But it's you couldn't really live there because it's got a stony beach, so that's what brings everyone to Stupa.
Okay.
So the writing retreat was great. The whole Right Club, the podcast ladies, retreated over there, and there was lots of little tables all around. It was shady. It was really pretty. It was quiet, apart from the odd caterwauling, because they're all on heat, the cats out here at the moment. And we did some really good writing. I fleshed out, using one of Steph's things she's doing in the LitFest today workshop. I fleshed out a short story, because there's a rather nice short story competition called the Commonwealth Short Story Competition, where they give prizes of something like £3,000 to each region of the Commonwealth, and then the overall winner gets something like £5,000. I thought, well, that's worth
yes, it is. Absolutely.
Good price per word.
Mind you, you're not in the Commonwealth in Greece. You're only in the Commonwealth in if you pretend you live in. Where do you live in England?
I'm an UK resident, mostly.
Yes, that's what I was saying. You would have to pretend you live where. I forgot the place. Shoreham. You'd have to live in Shoreham to be in the Commonwealth. Yeah,
exactly. So that was nice. So, and I've had this idea for a little while, since Floating in the Sea, the idea came to me about Greek vampires, and I looked them up, and they do have such things, but they're quite quirky and different to normal vampires. So, hang on, they've just started up the cement mixer down the road. Hold on, shut the window. Neighbours are having extensive works done. Not the next door neighbours who did their bathroom, the ones next to them.
Okay.
Anyway, yes, so that was lovely. And the other news is that I've got a 3.5. I've had my 7 reviews on yourightOn.com.
Oh yes.
And I'm coming out of 3.5, which I'm a bit disappointed in, out 5. But what happens is, the more reviews you get, you can start taking out some of the work. Obviously, as you improve the manuscript, you start to get better reviews. So as you go along, out of every 4, you can remove 1. So when I get to 8, I can take out the lowest score, because that was obviously given to me when I was, when the manuscript wasn't so good.
Yeah.
And hopefully it's improving with my lack of...
Well, this is the entire point of it, isn't it? You start at 3. This is the entire point of it. You start at 3.5 and you work your way up by reviewing what you've written.
Yeah. And I want to get to the end of... I think it's the end of November that they start opening it for the people who are in the top 10 get reviewed by the publishing houses. So I need to get my score up on that. So
okay.
Yeah, so I'm feeling a bit more inspired. I didn't feel inspired to write any of my novel on Monday on the writing retreat. I felt completely stuck on that for some reason, which is why I started to think about the short story. Because any writing's better than no writing, because if it's a bit like, I'll just get the file out. If you start writing something, then you might then feel inspired to move on to the other thing.
Oh, I believe a writer should write every day.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I'm about to do that. I'm about to go into a challenge.
It doesn't really matter what you do, to be honest, what you write, as long as you write. Yeah.
Yes, that's true. Well, I have written some emails today, so...
Well, a bit like that post I was saying I felt inspired to write in the car. Come home, write it.
Yes, exactly. So, Moo, what's fueled your fire then?
Well, I've had 3 potential new clients this week. One came via SEO, which is always very gratifying because it brings in new people to the pool. They search and they come in, and they're not in my newsletter list, and they're not Facebook friends, and they're not from anything I'm doing already, and that's refreshing. But they wanted something I wasn't sure I could do, so I was nervous about it in advance because it was 2 ladies who wanted to be coached as a twosome. So there was the original business owner and then her associate who she was bringing on to join her as a director shareholder in the business. And I'm not sure about that, to be honest. It worked all right in the introductory call, better than I thought, but I'm not sure about it ongoing. So I said, if we do it, and they haven't confirmed yet, if we do it, then I will probably, as part of my package, throw in an hour for each of them to use separately, because occasionally there are things you can't say to the other person that you don't want to rehearse with me in front of them, if that makes sense. Yeah. And so I do think they're going to need some personal time as well. The second one was a returner who was a bit of a surprise, but she wants somebody outside of her own industry for perspective. And actually a returner is a very nice thing. And somebody else who promises that they will join one of my groups these days, and I've given her a lot of free time over the years, so she bought a pay what you want session. And we've done that one, and I really enjoyed it, and her project's great, and I'm excited to be helping her. But the other thing that happened this week, Facebook does this very strange thing where occasionally, but not always, and they're in the middle of a bunch of doing it at the moment, they email me a report about the activity on my page every week. And I noticed something really interesting from that, and I can find it again more easily on my iPad than I can on my computer interface with my insights. But my Facebook page, which you'll remember we can think of, if we choose, like a website, because that's exactly what it is, really. Your Facebook page is a website. It gets 5 times the visitors in a month that my website does.
Wow.
And remember, everything I do on that page, I do organically. But it doesn't convert yet to anything valuable. So when I wrote these notes on Monday or Tuesday, I put I need to look into that. Since then, I've changed the button from whatever it said before to get them onto my newsletter list because it's a bit gentler. But I need to think about how I can get the value from those visitors.
Yes, because it's all very well having engagement, but if engagement doesn't turn into sales...
Well, that's my fault, because I haven't invited them to do something that works yet.
Yes.
I've tried. I've experimented with different things over the years, but not... Because I knew it wasn't being seen, or because I thought it wasn't being seen by many people, because I'm not paying, I didn't get my knickers in a knot about it. Do you know what I mean? I thought, well, it's nice. But when I saw the stats, and oh my God, it gets 5,000 visitors a month. My website doesn't get anything like that. I need to make that work in a way, make that work somehow.
Okay, so here's the thing. I'm going to go to my page now. And I'm going to look at my insights, and you're going to tell me where you can see.
Well, I'll have to open it on mine because they send it to me in an emailed report. So let me get my page open.
Okay, so I stop share and make you a share?
No, I don't want to look at yours. You look at yours, I'll look at mine because they'll be the same, and I'll tell you where to go, if you see what I mean. Yeah. Pages.
Okay, so I've got a choice of last 7 days or last 28.
Yeah, make it 28.
Yeah.
Judith Morgan.
See, I'm worried that you're misinterpreting something.
No, I'm not.
Okay, well, we'll see.
No, I'm not.
Okay. Because when I look at my page views for the last 28 days, I can see 104.
Well, when I look at my page views for the last 28 days, I've got 5,873, up by 306%.
So what have you been doing differently?
Nothing. I've done less, actually. The first up until August, for the first 7 months of the year, I was much more concerted on my page. I haven't been doing anything. I had August off from anything on Facebook, pretty much. And I've just been doing what I always do with Facebook, which is I share nice content I think my tribe will like, and I'm very responsive to them wherever they engage with me. I'm live, basically.
Yeah.
Every time I'm not with a client, I'm marketing, and Facebook is my central place for that. Now, if I go to my website, I certainly haven't had 5,873 equivalents.
I just can't. It's just so astonishingly different. I mean, I've got my reach apparently is 27,551. My videos have been watched 14,582 times in the last 28 days. And I've had 673 post engagements. How do your numbers compare with?
But have you? Well, they're pathetic. I don't put any video on it. So how do you know what action do you want your people to take, and do they take it? That's our issue here.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I want them to click through to my website.
And have they done that? Actions on page.
Actions on page. Where does it say that?
Next, left of page views, top column, top line.
We have insufficient data to show for the selected time.
Well, that's no. You see, neither of us are making our views or our reach or anything work for us.
Well, that's the thing is, though, Judith, what I do is I boost my videos to my target market, and on the video is a learn more button, and also there's a link in the description of the video. So,
and are you measuring that? Is that working?
Yes, I do get a lot of clicks through to my website.
Okay, so the point here is where our point of difference is I don't pay. But I've still got nice traffic that I need to convert into something. And newsletter readers would be perfect for me, actually.
Yeah. So you changed your button?
So I've changed my button back to, learn more, which takes them to the opt-in newsletter page. Because the choices of buttons they offer you are very dismal.
Yes, they are dismal. You're absolutely
right. They're dismal.
Okay. So
not what you would want to say at all. You can't customize them.
So your learn more button takes me through to...
Now, could you go there again? Could you go back to that page where you've just clicked?
Yes, I can.
Because you see 2 buttons, don't you? I don't. Do you see? What does it say next to learn? What does it say?
Learn more or send message.
Oh, that's what I want. I can't see that on my own. I wondered how everybody was getting 2 buttons. You can't see it on your own. Okay, cool. That's all I wanted to know. That's good.
Well, only if you've enabled it. So if everyone who's listening...
Well, if you can see it, I've enabled it, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Can you press it? See if it works.
There you go. Thank you for your message.
It does work. Yeah. Marvellous. Okay, good. Anyway, so what's fueled my fire is there's a lot more interest in my Facebook page than I knew. And now I need to work out what I'm going to do with it.
Not more than on mine, that's what which I'm slightly mortified about. So.
Well, no, you're getting it where you want it, which is on your videos, and you're paying for that.
Yeah.
That's fine.
But it's still, I still, because I don't know. How often do you share stuff onto your page?
Well, you can tell, can't you, by scrolling down several times a day, many times a day. Anytime I see anything of value to my tribe when I'm available.
Yeah, well, that's it. And you do lots of memes.
No, I love it. I love it. I love my Facebook page. When what you love loves you back.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Right, so...
But anyway, I didn't know that this time last week, so it's interesting. Yeah. Mm.
And you did a lot of stuff with your Facebook page, didn't you? You used that software and everything and set it all up like that.
I didn't really use that for the Facebook page. That doesn't really... And in fact, I'm going to give that up. It's too complicated, to be honest, for me. I haven't got the time or the attention span or the budget to pay for somebody to do it for me. I know that Barrow is using it. I'd be interested to know how he's getting on with it, because he did pay. He does pay people to do things for him, so that would be interesting. I might follow that up with him, actually.
Yeah, ask him. Yeah, cool. Okay, so let's move on to our focus of the week, the law of attraction, part 2.
Indeed.
And the reason I suggested it was because Sarah said to me, when are you going to do law of attraction part 2? You've done part 1, but part 2 doesn't seem to be forthcoming. And I said, well, and I said that to you, and you said that, have we got anything else to talk about? And in our discussions about whether we had anything else to talk about, it turned out that we had a completely different understanding of the very phrase law of attraction. So I thought that was worth.
Have you got those? You haven't got that message handy, have you? Because it might be useful to read that out.
I have. Hold on one second.
And all we said at the end of LOA 1 was, this is a very rich theme, we could come back here. But when you said, let's talk about LOA 2, I thought, I don't know what we're going to talk about. And then I went and listened to it, and I discovered actually it was interesting, and I could find more to talk about it.
You said, what do you feel there's more to say? Are you feeling it? If so, happy for you leave, blah, 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 blah. I said, no, it's just we called it part 1, and at the end... And then I think we just agreed it was a rich topic. Let me brood and report back.
Yep.
And then you pointed out very, very handily and very efficiently, and gave me a link so I could go and listen to it, that I could listen to from 22 minutes 53 onwards, the part 1.
Yep.
And gave me a link to go and have a listen. And then you said you had a couple of other ideas.
Let's do the next bit, the bit that's about what I think it is and what you think it is.
Yes. So I finished listening, and it's interesting, but hardly about law of attraction at all. More about how successful people think and what daily practices they follow, etc., and overcoming self-doubt and doing it anyway when you feel the fear.
And that was me, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
And I said, well, there's our starting point right there, because that's what I think the secret is hidden in the law of attraction. And you obviously think it's something different, because I'll tell you, I've got a bit of background for you that I'd like to just say.
Okay, go for it.
Put this in context. I first watched The Secret in 2006. It came out, and I remember where I lived, and I never really got it, because it kept talking about this secret in the same way that I read Paul Coelho, The Alchemist, and didn't really understand what he was on about either. Yeah. They kept saying there's a secret in this book, and same with the film. It said there's a secret in the book, and I didn't get it at all. And then I realised that I'd read Wallace D. Wattle's Think and Grow Rich, and I'd read that back in 1998, 1999. And the first read through, I sort of got a bit out of it about masterminding particularly.
Yes.
Nothing else, although that said that there was a secret in that book as well. On the second read, which I read just after The Secret film came out, 2006, so I read it in 2006, 2007, I read it because everybody told me that The Secret was based on this book, so I went back and read it again. And I got it about the masterminding, and I got it about being positive and all that stuff. But it wasn't until I read it again, when you told me about Jacqueline doing Think and Grow Rich in heels. Was it? Yeah. And I went and I read it again, and it just completely jumped off the page at me.
I didn't tell you that. She told you that when she was a holiday stand-in for me. Yeah.
Right. And so when I read it again, and it all came 100% perfectly clear to me that it's all about what you think and what you let in your mind, and the power of thought, and how the law of attraction was only worked if you worked really hard on what was in your mind. And I think the reason I got it on the third read because I'd read a lot of other books in the meantime, so I was sort of ready for the information. And I thought, oh, that's the secret then. The secret is it's all down to you. But you're saying now that you think the law of attraction has something different. And
it's a little bit. It's not. What does that go back to that thing I said in the note about? It's not about the law of attraction. It's about, what do I say? Our first conversation is about.
It was a really interesting conversation, but hardly about the law of attraction at all. More about how successful people think and the daily practices they follow, and how they overcome self-doubt and fear and do it anyway.
Okay, so you won't be surprised to hear that I looked up the definitions of the law of attraction. Mm-hmm. I've got two of them for you. And actually, Think and Grow Rich, who wrote that?
Wallace D. Wattles.
No, he didn't. Think and Grow Rich was Napoleon Hill, wasn't it?
Yes, you're right.
Yes, and look, his clue is the first word of the title.
Yes, so
think.
Wallace D. Wattles wrote the book that
The Science of Getting Rich, wasn't it? Yes, okay, so the definitions are: the law of attraction is the attractive magnetic power of the universe that draws similar energies together. It manifests through the power of creation everywhere and in many ways. Even the law of gravity is part of the law of attraction. This law attracts thoughts, ideas, people, situations, and circumstances. That's one definition. The other one is, in the New Thought philosophy, the law of attraction is the belief that by focusing on positive or negative thoughts, people can bring positive or negative experiences into their life. So the thing when I told you this morning, we go into the group every morning and we put three things. We say something, this is a Pam Grout book, something amazingly awesome is going to happen to me today. And then you list three things that you're happy about or grateful for. And they're quite hard sometimes. There's sometimes when you're low, they're hard to find those things. Yeah. But the point of the habit and the ritual is that three positive things will attract three more positive things, will attract three more positive things. So how this plays out in my own life and work. Can I go first, or do you want to do that?
No, you go ahead, yeah.
Okay, so that group is called I Love My Life. And it's all about vibration. We're deliberately looking for things to be grateful for and to feel good about, even when appearances are often to the contrary. So that's about what NLP is called managing my state. Yeah. If me doing that and other people reading mine and me reading other people's raises our vibration, which we know it does in that group, then we've managed our state up the ladder a bit from fear to love. The scale goes from fear to love. So I watch the language I use, and we've talked about that before when I talked about and using and instead of but. I avoid and get my clients to avoid use of the words such as struggle. I'm in favour of pursuing what's easy. I suggest they might like to reframe struggle as, say, opportunity. Clients typically at least once a week will tell me what their struggles are, and you've got to pick a word that is what you want, not reinforces what you've already got. So let us individually choose. You and Sarah used to do this in the ball pit about 20 years ago. Let us individually choose thoughts, feelings, vibrations, positivity, or stay living in struggle. That's our choice. So if we believe struggles are reality, struggle becomes our reality. Now, my friend Nicola, who has got a very classically British dark, negative sense of humour. What do we call that? She's a neg, not a pos, okay? Yeah. And when I first knew her and we would come out of the theatre on a rainy night in Piccadilly, she said, "Oh, you'll never get a taxi here." Well, if you believe you won't get a taxi in the rain in Piccadilly, you won't get a taxi in the rain in Piccadilly, okay? I've taught her to get a taxi in the rain in Piccadilly. She's proud of the fact she can do that, and she can do parking as well. Yeah. Those things are so easy. They're law of attraction 101. The point is, if you can get a taxi in the rain in Piccadilly on a dark night when everybody wants one at 10:30, and you can get a pole position parking space in the Blue Water car park, you can do anything. That's what we believe about money, and that's where the stretch comes for people, is they can do the easy things, but they can't take it up a notch and then another notch and another notch. I also believe in supportive habits of ritual. So every night I put my head on the pillow, I do what Wayne Dyer taught me in his book, Wishes Fulfilled, which is I say, I am healed, I am perfect health, whatever the things I want for myself, I say I am, because that invokes the divine in me. And I get my clients, when they do whatever their ritual is that works for them, to keep doing it. Don't stop. If it's working, don't stop doing it. Further, I police everything I consume, read, eat, choose to believe, take on board, pay attention to, and I measure it on how it makes me feel and think and operate. And I can report that when the vibe is high, better things are happening, and when my vibe is low, ghastly things happen. So good things come in threes, bad things come in threes, because we're in that higher or lower vibe. And I pay attention to all of this for my clients too. And I talk to them about vibration, because what's showing up in your life, and this was in the 3 kits, what you've been asking for. Tut reminds us of that. What you think you deserve is what you get. Sometimes you have to grow that expectation and be a vibe for bigger and better, or smaller and easier, whatever it is the definition of what you want. Yesterday, you commented on something I shared from Brene Brown. Do you remember the thing about dare to lead?
Leadership, yes.
Yeah, you said tough to do. Well, only if you believe it is. That's the point. If you change your mind, it's easy. Now, we're all prey to this. I'm not blaming you. I'm going to give you an example of me doing exactly the same thing later. So by way of illustration, those 3 new clients turned up in my life this week because my vibe's higher at the moment. The reason that one only paid and did the work so far is because I'm conflicted in whether or not I want to be taking on new clients right now. I can turn that dial up or down, and I have a connectedness to, they haven't confirmed yet. I know why they haven't confirmed yet. It's because I haven't invited them in energetically. So I'm steeped in all of this, and I innately believed it since I was a teenager, and I first noticed woo-woo goings on in my life. I had a school friend we used to call Sidekick, which was a play on words for psychic, because she and I had a telepathic communication. And I had it also with my piano duet partner. It was about energy and vibration and how we could read each other in non-wordy ways. Actually, as a teenager, I would have called that spooky. And it happens in Small Business Big Magic when I'm thinking about clients where they turn up. And it's either that I pick up the vibe that they're coming, or they get the vibe that I'm thinking about them, and so they dial in. So for me, as we said in LOA 1, it's about my soul, my spirit, checking with my heart and my gut. My first ever personal development workshop I went on 25 years ago with Louise Hay, called You Can Heal Your Life. It changed everything. And ever since then, I followed Hay House's output. And the thing I love most about them is they put scientists on their stages who prove what she taught us and what we've all known intuitively for decades. I think it's gorgeous that science is reinforcing this. So I'm just going to summarize, if I may. I realize I've banged on. It's about woo-woo for me, and I love woo-woo, always have, always will. I offer it to my clients, and I let them suck up as much as they're prepared to, and even if they laugh at me the first time. It's risky when you don't know them. So those 2 business ladies, I mentioned to them, when they go to pitch meetings, they get little clients. They want bigger clients. They're not sure if they can. So they have to change their vibration to be a match for that bigger client. They've got to open their preparedness to receive, and they've got to be expansive in their sense of what they can deliver to that bigger client. Anne Ross, who taught me EFT, and EFT is absolutely perfect for this. She used to say, try this on like an old shirt, and if it fits, keep it. If not, let it go. So there's no attachment to anybody using these principles in any way that they don't find works for them. But it does work, and the evidence is all around us. Acupuncture, for instance, works whether or not you believe it. Here's my example of tough to do. I struggle to believe in what they call the Bates method, which is where you can correct your own eyesight by, I don't know what you have to do, exercises, I think. And homeopathy is a bit of a stretch for me. But I could change my mind about both of those if I wanted to. I don't really want to be honest. But I love that ability to change my mind about anything in a heartbeat, and I really believe it can be that fast. Anything else, we're just hanging on to it because we're stubborn, because we want to, because we're happy playing small or broken. Change is confusing and emotionally challenging, and these law of attraction type thoughts, feelings are helpful, supportive steps to ease, which you said in LOA 1 was lighthearted and fun. It is lighthearted and fun. Explore this stuff at your own pace. There's no need to do anything other than experiment, but when it works, don't stop. Better feelings lead to better vibrations, lead to better results. There's a zone, and we can't be in it all of the time, but the more time we can be in it and the faster we can get back in it because we've got some go-to habits, the better. So that's what the law of attraction's about for me.
Well, there's a lot in there.
Yeah, there is. It's a big, I've been studying it for 25 years.
There's something that you just said a minute ago. There's so many things that I want to comment on, but the thing you just said was the about changing your state, changing your feelings, and that changing your results. The thing is that it actually works the other way around too. It actually makes you happy. So why wouldn't you do this stuff? Because it makes you feel happier.
Well, I think it does when you find your thing. So, for instance, your surprising adoption of meditation has made you happier. Is that what you're saying?
Well, it certainly has, yes.
Yeah.
It's not just that.
And you didn't expect that when going in, did you, necessarily?
No, and I still can't work out why it does, except that it's a pleasant occupation.
Well, you see, that's what I love about it. We can't work out why. Who cares?
Yeah. But the other thing you've reminded me that The Secret is all about physics and
yes,
and
vibrational match. Yes,
absolutely.
Yeah,
and as you say, it's so delightful that the science is catching up with it, and things like measuring the brain waves of people who've been meditating for years, and people who are really, really genius, its brains are completely different. They've got different shape, they're different size, all that sort of stuff. So I love that the science is catching up with it because it makes it much easier for me to accept it. But the reason I suppose the subconscious reason why I wanted to talk about it all again was because to remind myself how important it is, because we've had 3 weeks with someone who's done a lot of therapy but hasn't done any personal development. So doesn't know about any of this stuff or doesn't believe in it or whatever. So that was quite an interesting experience. And then the thing about out here is there are politics going on. And
can you stop before you go into the politics? I just want to address the point about the 3 weeks. I've done therapy as well. What therapy does is help you to understand your problems, but it doesn't help you to change your behaviours.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. And that's been made very...
And understanding your problems, how you got in this mess, is great. But if that's all it does and leaves you in that place and doesn't... there are gazillion versions of therapy and people will be listening going, no, I don't agree, Judith, because my therapy, it does move you on and blah, blah, blah. But all of this stuff does help us move on. We understand our problems now, and now we can do something about them, not stay there.
Yes. And there's actually a really interesting thread going on in the... what's the woman's name? Jo Martin.
Yes.
One World or one
yes, One Woman or something like that, isn't it?
Right. Yes. And there's a woman in there who's had a terrible time. She's done a lot of therapy, which has helped her to acknowledge the terrible time that she's had, which she'd previously buried and was causing her all sorts of problems. So she's come so far, and now she wants to move. She now feels she's ready to move on and start putting the stuff behind her without burying it and without forgetting it.
Yeah, it's nice.
And that is an interesting thing.
It's a nice, clean place to be, actually. It's foundational. Yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing is, there's a lot of politics out here. And the last few days have been absolutely rife with people talking to me about other people in a negative way. And it's made me feel really icky. And I think I'm going to have some sort of boundary around myself about not getting involved in... Because there's 2 or 3 people out here who will actually lie about other people to get
nice. They're more obvious people like that in a smaller society, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. But people still tolerate them, and that's really interesting. So,
is that because they're too polite to say anything, do you think?
Yes. For example, one of the people was at a party last week. I didn't go to this party because Alex didn't want to go. And she collared me, take me out for dinner, all about this literary festival and how she hadn't been invited. And it was, I spent a whole evening being harangued about this thing. And then she went to this party last week and she actually spoke to several of my friends, and it was just nasty. Now, the whole thing was just nasty. It makes me feel ill, the thought. But I was like this in corporate life as well. I could never.
Interestingly, this is where I'm going with my word of the week. Funnily enough, but you keep going.
Okay, interesting. So, but what it made me realise was that I am so often surrounded by people who have got no idea about the law of attraction, no idea about thoughts becoming things, no idea about watching all the things.
Banging the drum.
Yeah.
They're banging the drum, aren't they, when they go on, stirring the pot with their negativity. Yeah.
I can't understand it at all, and it makes me feel icky.
You want a ready brick shield.
Yes,
that's it. You just put on your ready brick shield and let the words bounce off, or not be available for those sorts of conversations. I think.
Yeah, it's difficult though when you're sitting on the beach and someone come and plonks themselves down on.
What you have to say, what I had to say to my friend Nicola, who's the neg to my pause, which is, can we talk about something else because I don't agree with you and I have to maintain my state, otherwise I can't function. Which is absolutely true. Absolutely true.
Yeah, absolutely. And
if I let them bring me down, I can't do what I've got to do.
So what I could say is, I was thinking about this, what I could say today is I don't like having conversations about someone who isn't here.
Yes, perfect.
So that'll do, won't it?
Yes.
And actually, funny enough, that's why Sarah and I have had such a nice week, because she's done a lot of personal development, as you know, and it's been very restful being with someone who understands why you do things, what you do, why you're doing what you do, how to do what you do. And
well, there's another aspect of this as well, which is the thing that Louise Hay taught me in that first workshop, and which Sarah can do for you and you for her at times, none of us are perfect, is the first principle of You Can Heal Your Life is I love and accept myself exactly as I am. Now, what you realize very quickly is that in order to love and accept yourself exactly as you are, you have to love and accept everybody else exactly as they are. So Sarah, your world works better if you and Sarah love and accept each other exactly as you are.
Yes, it does.
Because anything else is just fighting, isn't it?
No, that's right. And that's why it was so challenging when a third person came in.
Yes.
Who didn't love and accept us exactly as we are.
Yes, well, quite. And actually, to be honest, that's worse in families. I think our friends love and accept us exactly as we are, like us exactly as we are, and choose us exactly as we are. Whereas I think the things we exactly as we are get up our families' noses often, because they probably reflect them, the things about themselves they don't like.
Yeah.
I've got a good example of that. My father was significant of eyebrow.
Significant of eyebrow?
He had big eyebrows.
Marvellous.
And I've plucked mine away almost to nothing. And I think I was trying to take away the bits of me. I think the eyebrow is a metaphor. I think I was trying to rid myself of the bits of him I didn't like.
And
does that make sense?
The bits of him you thought might be in you.
The psychological bits I didn't like. And actually, the therapist taught me that the reason why he probably had so many difficulties with me was because when he looked at me, he saw the bits of me in himself he didn't like. That's what we do for our families. We reflect our darker sides.
Oh,
I know. There's lots of books on this, the shadow side and the dark side of ourselves, because we're yin and yang. We're that, that symbol.
Yes, and all of your personality traits have got a dark side, haven't they?
I love and accept myself exactly as I am. I've got to love the dark bits as well. And until we have that peace within ourselves, it caught as soon as I realised, if I love and accept myself exactly as I am, that means I've got to love and accept someone I don't really much like. I don't have to have them in my life, but I have to accept them.
Yes.
Nobody's going to change because I don't like the way they are. No. It's an unreasonable request, isn't it?
Yes.
But if they can love and accept you how you are, or clear out of go out for the afternoon if you're getting on their wick.
Yes.
Do you see? Yeah. It can work.
And the final part of this is that this week both of our daughters have been having challenges. Phoebe's up and down mood wise, and she's having a bit of a struggle sometimes, and then she's fine other days. But the thing is that I think she really needs to get out of the house. I think she needs to find something where she goes out to work for a while, because she's doing a lot of editing and stuff like that, and she seems to enjoy it, but she doesn't see anyone all day, and so she goes out in the evening, and then she ends up partying too much, and that affects her mood because she's had a drink, and we all know that alcohol brings you down the next day. So I'm not saying she's doing that too much. I'm just saying that she's going out to get company in the evening.
Yeah.
And perhaps most people don't do that in a working week, do they?
How old is she?
She's 23.
And how old is Sarah's daughter?
She's the same, and she's having relationship issues.
Yeah.
So they both call us, which is wonderful, or they both talk to us, which is wonderful.
Yes.
But you're always reminded that you're talking to someone who has not had 20-odd years of personal development.
Absolutely, yes. And also, I wouldn't know how to speak to a 23-year-old anymore in terms of what to recommend them, because they're so different from us.
Well, it is. You just talk straight, Judith. That's what you do.
Or you listen. And frankly, they probably just want a good listening to, don't they? Absolutely. Listen, but then we know they're not going to read any books we recommend, because we all found those in our own time, didn't we?
Yes, that's. I mean, I've just let my final suitcase of books go.
Good, well done. You've
taken them to a charity shop. I've just realised that one book I particularly wanted was in there, but never mind.
You can always buy it again, can't you?
I could, yes, if I want to. And actually, the author is a friend of mine, so I could just ask him for a copy.
Perfect.
But yeah, so yes, and I did that because I was keeping it for them, and I thought one day when I've gone, they might look through it and think, I might read this one, or I might read this one. But actually, people don't read that much anymore. They watch.
No, that's right.
More likely to watch a TED talk than read a book.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, and also I think whilst you want to phone your mum, and you want her to listen to you and go, there, dear. I'm not sure you want fixes.
Definitely not. Phoebe doesn't call me when she's feeling bad because she knows I'll try and fix her.
Yeah.
Make her do something.
Yeah.
So I've promised her now that I am available for chat and listening, but not fixing.
Yes, good. So, I don't think you can fix her, to be honest.
No. She's got to fix herself. And she's very aware of that.
Yes. So, and actually, she's not terribly broken.
Not at all. No, God, Jesus.
Neither of them are.
No, they're lovely. They're lovely. But it is interesting when you're talking. And I think that what I'm trying to do is just illustrate the three types of people I've had around me recently who are not interested in the law of attraction and don't really know anything about it. I mean, I've got to say, the girls are a lot more receptive because they've been brought up with this stuff. I mean, I used to regularly stop in, when we were in Tesco's, and I'd stop the trolley and say, hang on a minute, can't let that one go by when they just negative.
Yeah.
So they have grown up.
And let's go back. Let's go back to your three types. So the visitor who'd done the therapy but not the personal development and wanted to change you both, even though he didn't really know you. The people who gossip and are a bit snidey in a small community.
Small community, yeah.
And the third type is the girls, is it? Who are
young people? Yes,
young people. Yeah, I don't know what the solution is for young people. The grown-ups, we have to walk away and leave them with their feelings. In fact, that's a boundaries thing, and you could find the language for it, which is you let them know that behaviour isn't acceptable. So, for instance, somebody emailed me overnight, and it's a person that I'm in a small community of people who, this woman is what Marion would call our gift, i.e. she's always leaning on us for something that we don't want to give. So what it does is it gives you practice at saying no or empowering her to find her own solutions. And I was talking to a client yesterday who's plagued by her, and overnight, guess what? She turned up in my inbox. I gave her 2 solutions. I took no responsibility for it, and I let her go away. Do you know what I mean? And that is long years in the learning.
Yeah. Yes, it is. And you just have to keep practicing it, don't you? Like you said.
And also because it's not as though we haven't got enough of our own stuff to be getting on with, apart from managing other people's lives as well. Let them manage their own, particularly an adult, I think.
Yeah.
But I do think if I was you in stupor, I know how I would behave with the gossip mongers. I mean, I'm a bit of a gossip myself, but never with a snidey aspect. But I would walk away and I would have the language for it, which is, we need to change the conversation because I don't want anything to sour my relationships with my friends out here.
Yes.
Or actually, if they're talking about X, I might say, I find X to be A, B, and C, 3 positive words.
Yeah, it's a bit more difficult because it's second or third hand removed, but
yes,
we'll find a way to deal with it.
I mean, the thought that people are talking about us in ways where we can't correct them is a terrible thing.
But I actually don't give a shit what anyone thinks about me. So
that's good. That's really good. I find being misunderstood. In fact, I had to clear up one with my brother last night. Being misunderstood, I find really quite grisly.
I know you don't like it at all. It makes you upset.
Well, it's when I say A, but they read B.
Yeah.
Or I say A and they hear B. So, I have to clarify it in case people think I am what they thought I was. What they thought I was. I'm not. I'm this. But yes, I agree. When we can't do that with the whole world.
No, and that's one of the reasons why you haven't heard anything about the literary festival before, because there was so much bad politics going on around it that I just simply didn't want to get involved. And so I just said I was going to go.
Do you know what? I think you could change that climate of politics you could be an agent of change just by changing your own behaviour. This is law of attraction. The ripples will spread outwards and other people will get other people on the same wavelength as you will get the vibe and they'll do it too. And the more resistance you nice people put up to this behaviour, the less of this behaviour will be sanctioned.
Yeah. Whereas my instinct is to withdraw. And what you're saying is to go on the nice offensive.
Yes, I wouldn't withdraw. I would express my feelings in a clean way. Ooh. Because then we're educating the perpetrator.
Yeah.
And other people will go, oh, Nicola, that was impressive. And they'll have a go too. That will empower them to do it.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. I like that because
you change the climate by consensus then, do you see?
Yes.
This isn't the sort of community we want here. So we start being the change we want to see.
Yes. And I think to a large degree, that's why I've got so many friends so quickly, is because I'm a very positive person.
Yes, I agree. Vibe, you see? Absolutely. fun.
High vibe, yes, exactly.
Yes.
But yes, I do need to work harder on not letting the politics drive me underground.
Well, I think we all do all of the time, whether it's your politics or the politics I read in the newspapers or whatever. You know, we have to have the ready brek shield on for that, and the arrows can't penetrate; they just pop off.
Yes, I like that visual. Very good. I think we've done. I think we've got a lot. I mean, that your presentation on the law of attraction was most impressive, may I say?
Well, it's one of my favourite topics. I'm a woo-woo, and I have been all my life. You know, love it. But it's very easy in my work when I'm listening to clients all day long, and because of my wordiness, to hear the language they're using and how that's not serving them.
Yes. And even in talking about techie stuff, I have to really watch out when they're being permanent, pessimistic and.
I found Sorry, you go on.
I was going to say, because if the minute they make it personal, pessimistic, and permanent, they're not going to try.
No, that's right. I found a nice graphic that I'm going to use I can't use it for us because you won't be able to superimpose your stuff over the top, but I'm going to use it for my blog post and my note for this. And it's just a lovely word cloud of all the words around it. And there's one in there that really stands out at me as appropriate. In fact, I should have chosen it for my word of the week because my word of the week is quite dark. But resonance.
Oh, nice. Okay.
You see, it's a cousin of vibration. You know, when that gossip says something that she says, it's not resonating well with you; it's resonating badly.
Yes.
But we want to be resonating on a high. Do you know? You'll find this really interesting. There's a megahertz level at which, if you listen to music, it's more mood improving than a lower one. I think it's something like 438, 428. I don't know, but resonance. It might be a better word for people than vibration.
Yes.
Because we always know when we hear or read or see something, how it resonates with us.
How it makes us feel.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's your point. Sorry, one more point. That's your point about why people are drawn to you and you've made friends easily, is because your happy, jolly, positive, outgoing, never say die thing resonates with them.
Yeah, even when I was actually.
Yes, exactly, and they don't know that at cognitive level. It's how it's Maya, isn't it? Maya, what's her name? That gorgeous black writer, Maya.
Maya Angelou.
Yes, she says that people will remember how you make them feel.
Yes, that's very true.
And that's exactly, honestly, you couldn't sum this up in a better way. So does that do the job?
I think it does. I think we've done it again. So let's.
We need to be very quick in our next 3 sections.
Yeah, we will be. I think we just need to keep our ears open, and when we're talking in future weeks, just pick up law of attraction stuff.
Yes, and say that's a law of attraction issue. Yeah. Absolutely right. Yes. Yeah. Oh,
good. Right. So where were we?
I don't know. We were just going to do words of the week, weren't we?
Yes, we are. Word of the week.
You go first.
I've done all my other prep, but I completely left off word of the week.
Okay, so I don't want you to draw me on why I've chosen mine because I could do another hour on this topic, okay? But my word is prurient. Do you know what that means?
It means when people are looking at things in a nosy way.
It means having or encouraging an excessive interest in sexual matters, especially the sexual activity of other people.
Oh, really?
Yes. It means an unhealthy interest in other people's sex lives. We're going to leave it at that, okay?
All right.
But interestingly, after I'd already chosen it as my word of the week, I was watching a program, a drama called The Truth About the Harry Kabir Affair, which is a book I've read and can't remember at all. And somebody in there being questioned by the policeman about a nude painting says it isn't prurient. And I thought, right, there's a sign from the universe. I've got to pick it for my word. There you go. So no sooner had I looked it up to make sure it meant what I thought it meant, I then heard it in a television drama.
Yeah, interesting.
That's very LOA.
I'll have politics as my word of the week because there's been a lot of it about this week.
Okay, so you've got 2 P words.
Yes, why not?
Okay. Now, project updates, I'm going to be very quick. This is our last recording before our 200th show, which means I can't appeal in this one for the people to phone in because it goes out after we've recorded this show. 199 goes out after we've recorded 200. But let me tell you what I'm going to do. Well, first of all, where did 4 years of our lives go? That's what we should discuss next week if we don't get any contributions, or even if we do. But I'm going to tag them by name in our group, the holiday stand-ins, the listener guests, those who I know have listened to all 200 calls. I'm going to try my hardest this week to bring them out of the woodwork to phone into your speak pipe.
I think the thing to do is to remind them what's in it for them. And what's in it for them is that they get to put their name and their URL of their...
No, what's in it for them is that we'll keep podcasting.
Yeah, that's true. We won't if we don't get encouragement.
No, what's the point? We've made 200, we will have made 200 hours of audio that's probably taken us 600 hours to make. If they can't phone in for 30 seconds, I'll be very, very disappointed.
I think you need to detach yourself from the outcome on that one.
No, we need support from our listener guests and our listener. I know they're listening, so I'm going to bring them out of the woodwork. I know. I just want to hear people X say, I have a conversation with you when I'm listening at home on Saturday mornings, and Y say, I listen to it twice the speed when I'm doing my groceries shop. I just want to hear their... Well, I will be disappointed, Nicola, and there's no point in me attaching myself from the outcome. It's not an outcome I want to detach myself from. I want look what we've done. Look what we've created, in which we know they've enjoyed.
Yes, but to be fair, we did do it for our own marketing purposes.
No, at the beginning we did it for fun. I think you need feedback on whatever you do. That's all we're asking for. Now, you tell me about what you were going to say in this section.
Okay, I was going to say that I rather regret giving up our website on the web on the podcast.
Oh, do you? Why?
Yeah, I do. Because Radio Public is very difficult to change anything on once you go onto it. We've never made more than $10, so it's been.
Well, we can revert. That's easy, isn't it? We haven't given up the website, have we?
I don't know. I'll have to talk.
No, we haven't, because I log in there every week to look up various things.
Oh right. Well, I think we should consider.
All we've done is we've redirected it to Radio Public. Let's redirect it back, if you think.
I think so. Yeah. Because
was there any benefit to the website though?
Well, yes, there was. We got traffic because we put search engine optimization traffic.
But did that traffic do any good?
We don't know, and we'll never know. But I feel it's just. I'll tell you another thing. Well, it was when you told me to go and listen to the Law of Attraction show, I realised how difficult Radio Public is to use.
Well, it isn't for me. I find it easy on both my app and on my computer. I was surprised that you didn't find that as easy as me. When you said the app doesn't do that, the app does it for me.
Yeah, but I don't want another app on my phone. My phone's full of apps already, and I don't.
No, I use my phone on my. And I was doing it on my computer yesterday. When I go in on Friday morning to publicise it, a little box pops up in the bottom right-hand corner, which enabled me to slide along to the 23rd.
Well, it didn't enable. It wasn't immediately obvious to me how to do that.
Okay, well, that's not the same thing as it doesn't work properly, by the way.
No, I understand that. But if I can't do it, the techie genius that I am, why couldn't?
No, I think we all have weird things sometimes.
Yeah, possibly.
I think, and also everybody's interface with their gadget is unique because of the combination of the browser and the hardware.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, so that was just something that occurred to me. Secret Art of Huna's going great. We're swapping over the opt-in from an intro to a meditation, which was Sarah's idea. She said, I'd quite like a meditation to listen to and download. So
instead of what?
Instead of a couple of videos where Jane's talking about what...
Okay, nice idea, okay.
Yeah. Joint Venture Masters is now ready for joint ventures. I've learned how to do the affiliate module on Thrivecart, which is very powerful and very good. And my mate Dave has helped me hook it up to Drip, so we're ready to do JV. So I've turned it over to Pete now. I've said, right, Pete, go and do your JV thing for your Joint Venture Masters business. So
yes, marvellous.
He's in South America.
You can say to a client, practice the thing that you're teaching everybody else.
Yes, exactly. Yes. And my own marketing. Oh, Judith, I so regret giving up the V-zine because I just... Hey, Wolfie.
Have you actually given it up?
Well,
you've given it. You just stopped doing it, haven't you?
I have stopped doing it because lots of reasons. It was a lot of work and it was expensive to get it done. But I'm just not doing anything on my own marketing at all. And it used to feed the podcast. It used to feed my website. I'm going to have to.
There isn't something else you'd like to do instead.
No, because other people were involved in that, and I used to not want to let them down. And it's really interesting.
Oh, I see, yes.
My motivation is driven by not wanting to let other people down.
By our accountability.
More than it is for myself, yeah. So I'm trying to work out what to do, and I keep saying to myself, I'm going to go on and do a Facebook Live, and then that could be, the basis for the podcast. But I just never get around to doing it.
Could you schedule it?
You could say that. You say that word, but then when something pops up that's more important at the time, it just goes out the window.
How ill-disciplined.
I know. I'm really bad at this stuff. That's why I have to lock myself into routines and processes, because I just don't do it. Anyway, so that's the projects at the moment.
Okay.
Who or what's impressed?
I'm going to be very quick with this one. Did you see Judges' Houses on X Factor last Sunday?
Yes.
So ostensibly we're at Simon's house in Malibu, and he had an invited audience of a guest, about 50 movers and shakers from the LA music business.
Really?
Lots of famous faces. Now, let me tell you what's impressed me, first of all, before you chime in, including his panel from American Idol. And he made his 6 girls, most of them teenagers, perform in front of these people, which I thought they did quite well by and large.
Really well.
I also thought that he picked the right ones, although he cheated by taking 4. But the thing that was best of all for me was the Diane Warren moment, where the girl singing her song made her cry.
Yes, I love that.
I thought that was just awesome.
I was in tears as well.
Because Diane Warren is as tough as old boots. She's been in LA for 100 years. She writes great songs. She's music industry through and through. And she cried when, not peerless by any means. I mean, she didn't take your breath away. She was good, and she can be better. But a fairly sort of a goodish, not superb performance moved Diane to tears. I thought that was just great.
I said to Sarah at the time, she's not the best singer in the world, but
no,
I really believe every single word she's singing.
Yeah,
she was really
she needs to get rid of those Instagram eyebrows. That's what I would say.
She does, yes.
Yes.
Terrible, aren't they?
Anyway, I will tell you now that I love the auditions. I can't bear to watch the 6-chair challenge, so I have 2 weeks off. I do quite like Judges' Houses because we're in glamorous, sunny locations, but I probably won't go on to do the live show. So this is probably the first and last thing I could talk to you about this year's X Factor.
Well, I'm in it for the long haul.
Yes, of course. Yes. Now, who or what's impressed you?
Kate Atkinson, the author.
Oh, yes, I saw you enjoying one of her books.
Well, It's been really interesting because I read all of her detective series, and I really absolutely love that. And I read a couple of...
but they're quite light reading, aren't they?
Yes, they are, but they do focus... They're light reading, but they do focus on dark topics.
Yes, but they're easy reads, whereas her real books aren't.
Well, you say, I'm totally not. Yes, I read Life After Life first, which is about the same character going over and over her life and trying to do better each time.
Yeah.
And it was a difficult read for me because it didn't flow as well as I normally like my stories to flow, and I didn't really realise what was going on at first, but eventually I did. And then I liked the character that we were following as well. And then I started to read God in Ruins, which is where she takes one of the family the first character was in a family. She takes one of the family who was a fighter pilot, and she follows him through his life. And it really is it's a hard read because of some bits of it are really boring, and other bits are really poignant about, and it really makes you realise about how fighter pilots, how tough they had it, and how kids of 19 and 2021 were going up in these sorties where they knew they had the funniest thing was there was a woman at the base who kept all the statistics, so she would cheerfully tell them that they'd have a 1 in 4 chance.
Oh no, the odds were against them.
Horrific, absolutely horrific. And how kids, because essentially they're younger than all our children are now, would go up in aeroplanes and fly the toughest physical missions, and then see people die all around them. It was just horrendous.
Well, that's war, Nicola.
So it wasn't an easy read, but I'm glad I persevered with God in Ruins particularly, because it did become more beautiful as it went along. I think I got into the rhythm of her writing, and I just really enjoyed it. So good reads. All of them.
And I'm pleased you're reading hard stuff, because you used to be against that as well. Look at you change.
I know. Yeah, God knows I'll be on.
I love that. I love the fact that we can change it when you're 58 and 63 or however old we are. I love that.
Yes, because one of the things is that, living somewhere like this is, I could just sink into old age, couldn't I? But I'm not going to.
Yeah, but also it means our if you think of back to the law of attraction, it means our grey matter is still pliant and flexible. We're not set in our ways or set in our thinking or anything like that.
No, although I do like a particular point on the sofa to sit on at all times.
Well, I mean, we've got our favourite little habits. I think perhaps my moving house quite often is encouraging me to realise that more, actually, is that there's always the favourite little spot wherever you are, and it's just not the same one all the time. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, that's got to be stirring you up quite a lot.
Well, it's quite elasticy, yes. Not some things better, some things worse. You have to take everything in the round.
Yeah, so I'll try not to buy too many bits of toot at the things.
It might not be toot. I honestly thought that's what you said.
Accumulating things is another thing that you're putting down roots, isn't it? So
yeah, but that's not a bad thing in your case because you're very happy there.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, Wilfie's back, so I'm off.
Okay, see you soon. Yeah, bye. Bye. How do they do it? Not a care and suffering. Wanna step into their world. Who holds the key?
You've been listening to Nicola Cairncross and Judith Morgan. The podcast is called Own It, Your Business and Your Life. Do come and visit us at ownitthepodcast.com. We'd love to hear your feedback. You can find out more about Judith and visit her on her website at judithmorgan.com, and you can find Nicola at nicolacairncross.com.